The most frequent activity in which you will engage in the use of your Level for Professionals program will be to monitor the activity of your patients. Let's, for example, monitor the activity of a patient of yours, perhaps named Jerry Smith. So in the drop-down list of patients, we find his name, and we proceed with the selected active patient, and we open Level for this patient. Now what comes up is a full copy of single user Level, the same copy that Jerry Smith, for example, is using on his own computer to prepare his data and to analyze it with graphs and tables. You have the same analytic capability here as he has at home. And now we make a checkpoint. As a professional, you want to be absolutely sure that you have the correct patient, and we do not. We have clicked on SSS, so we made a clicking error, and the checkpoint saved us. So we go back and close proceedings, and now we will click more carefully and click on Jerry Smith's name and proceed with the selected patient, open Level for this patient, check name, Jerry Smith correct, and we proceed. Now, if you are using internet data storage, and Jerry Smith is also using internet data storage, what will happen now is that your computer will bring in the latest copy of Jerry's data as he has stored it himself on the internet. So let's proceed with the checkout. Now, there will be a history folder check kept in your office of everyone who is using Level for Professionals, and in that history file will be entered the name of the person who is making this activity. So in this case, if it's yourself, Dr. Jones, you would leave your name. Otherwise, you would replace it with the name of yourself. Now, while Jerry Smith's data is being fetched from the internet data storage location where he put it himself, let's notice that his data is immediately up to date. It has the very latest data items that he put there himself for you now to look at. That is a huge advantage of using internet data storage, is that your view of his data is absolutely current. The other advantage is that the environment in which you are looking at it from, you're looking at it from your computer program. This means that you have access to large, fast, powerful algorithms that can analyze the data for you in depth and make complete presentations of it. So now we have checked out his data set from internet data storage, where he himself put it. It's now present in this computer, and we can continue. This is a free tile sample message. The first thing we'd like to do is see if Jerry has sent you a message, or whether he's replied to one of your messages. So checking for the message queue, there's no messages to date, so he has not sent you a message or replied to a message of yourself. Next, you might want to see how his activity is going. The one graph that will show you more than anything else is under Daily Controls, and it is the bar graph. And let's look at some sample data to indicate what we might be seeing there. What we would see on the top is for the duration of 1 month, the most recent month comes up by default, would be his blood glucose levels at the top. Under it would be some selected activities that you're interested in monitoring for him. For example, you might want to monitor the number of hours that he's sleeping each night. You might want to monitor his total caloric intake, or the total amount of each medication, NPH or regular insulin or metformin, that he took during the day. You also might want to monitor any other specified item that you have asked him to keep track of, following your hunch that it might be influencing his blood glucose levels. So you can take a look at these and see how they are going according to what you have instructed him to do at the last visit. If you're seeing some major discrepancies, then you can send him a message to dress up a little bit. These 3 lines contain recorded information. The bottom line is your record of his patient visits. At the conclusion of each of his visits to your office, you enter a message indicating what took place in that visit what his vital signs were, medications that you prescribed, complaints that he had, as well as the date for the next scheduled visit. When he goes home, he enters his recollection of the visit in an entry called medical dots. So what you can do is compare what he remembered you saying with what you actually said. So let's close Jerry Smith down for the moment now, and we will check in to Internet Data Storage just in case that you had put a message there. It would now be checked back in, and when Jerry Smith made the next checkout, then he would have that message visible to him to look at, or any other entries that you might have made into the file for him to actually take a look at. So it's being placed back at the Internet Data Storage location that you agreed upon in conjunction with Jerry would be the one you would use. So Jerry Smith is closed now. And before we close proceedings for this patient, let's look at a few other choices that you can make in this control center. Most frequently, you will be opening level and viewing the data of the patient and exchanging messages during the time between visits. But at the end of each actual visit, then you would record the visit, indicating vital signs, observations, prescriptions, complaints, referrals, advice that you're giving, as well as the next scheduled appointment. And then this would be stored with all previous recorded visits that you have made, and they would be visible to you by simply viewing them. So the next time that this patient comes to the office, before they come in, you would simply view his most recent visit and see what it was that you prescribed at that time, and you would be prepared then to talk with that patient about how he was doing as you asked him to do from the last visit. Let's open them again and indicate a few other graphs that we can make very strong use of. So we'll start the data storage checkout process one more time. And some of the other graphs that might be very pertinent to realize how that this patient might improve his VGL readings would be a graph called the modal day graph, in which all of his readings are coalesced into one day, and they are plotted against the hour of the day, irrespective of what date they actually occurred on. So you see all the days in the selected date range as if they occurred on just one day. So this gives a very good indication of what time of day the high readings are occurring and when they might be causing trouble. So let's see what we might mean by that by going to blood glucose levels, daily controls, and looking at a modal day graph. And we're going to simply go to our test data as usual. And make a graph. Now, this is quite a bit of test data, and I'm sure Jerry would not accumulate that much in 1 month, but it does illustrate the use of this graph. All the days in the date range have been coalesced as if they all occurred on the same day. So you have each of the readings graphed only against their time of day, irrespective of the date on which they occurred. And you can go over this with a patient. Now, one of the powers of the level system and using it with Internet Data Storage is while the patient is in your office on his visit, then you have access to his very latest data, and you can confer together on the graphical presentations and decide on the best course of action. For example, if all of his high readings were occurring in the early afternoon, then you could examine why that might be happening. Another feature that is extremely useful to you is that the first time that you visit a new patient and you introduce them to the fact that they would be using the level system, then you could encourage them to, on their very first usage of the system, to go into a selection called Owner and record their genetic history. When they record the genetic history on this form, as soon as they put it out on internet data storage, it's accessible to you. So you do not need to have them fill out a form in your office. Rather, indeed, then this will come to you automatically, and you can print it if you wish. The coding style here is that, let's start with the patient themselves. They will select whatever afflictions they have according to the letters A, B, C, D, and the first number of them have been pre-packaged, and the remaining 10, or of your own choosing, or the patient's own choosing, that they can decide that they want to indicate. For example, this particular patient chose A, diabetes type 1, a C, hypertension, a D, overweight, an E, asthma, a U is psychological disorder, and an S is drug addiction. So a severe number of complaints. Now this is the list for the father, who had A, diabetes type A, a heart attack, a stroke. S was a drug addiction also, and J was a cancer. He died in '62 at, and we can scroll over there, died of liver cancer. And the mother has similar entries, as well as maternal aunts, maternal uncles, maternal grandmother, maternal grandfather, and similar relatives on the father's side, as well as brothers and sisters of the patient, spouses of the patient, and sons and daughters of the patient, all present on your computer without it having to be entered by the patient in your office. They simply enter it on their own computer, and it is automatically present in yours through the internet data storage. Another form that has similar usefulness is their fixed physical data, in which their height, weight, hair color, eye color, date of birth, birth weight, and other aspects of their early childhood, and physical characteristics that might or might not be pertinent to diabetes are recorded by the patient, and as soon as they record them and check back in on internet data storage, then they also become visible to you. So checking back now into internet data storage, in case that we had some activity there, it would then be present to the patient on the next checkout themselves. These checkout times tend to take anywhere between 10 to 90 seconds, depending on the speed of your internet connection. Other things that you might do on this screen with much less frequency than opening level for this patient and monitoring the patient and recording a visit for the patient and viewing those visits for the patient. If the patient and yourself have decided not to use internet data storage, which would be extremely unfortunate given all of its advantages, but if you've decided not to for whatever reason, then the data set for this patient can be imported at this time, and it is gotten into your computer from the patient, bringing it into your office on a USB flash drive, or else emailing it to you. And as soon as that file is in your computer, then by importing, you can move it into your copy of single user level that you have inside level of professionals for that patient. Other choices are used even less frequently, so we won't investigate those at the moment. There's a very strong help file here that you might want to print out. It lists most of the topics that we're talking to. And what else happens is that there is an administrator function that is simply not there, because we're not closed proceedings. Okay, after we close proceedings and come back to the control center, then on the upper left you see a button called Administrator. This contains additional functionality that you should be very careful whom on your staff you permit to have it. So therefore, it's strongly encouraged that it be password protected. And if you click on it, these are the list of things that you can do. The first thing you can do is set a password so that only selected members of your staff have access to these functions. First, it also has help file telling you everything that can be done as an administrator. You can change the name of your facility and the name of your system administrator. you can actually delete a former patient, or you can view the administrator's log file, which is a record of every activity of this level of professionals program. So in case there is any tracking back down to be done, then it is done by using the log file. You can also put this entire copy of Level Professionals onto a USB flash drive and carry it around in your pocket and use it on any host computer that you plug it into. The host computer does not have to have a Level 4 diabetes model installed on it. Everything works off of the flash drive. So you can make a USB flash drive copy. The next thing that you can do could be extremely interesting to you if you care to do research. What you can do now is combine the data for selected patients into one large data set. And the filters that you can put on the patients that you select, first of all, would be their current age, which you select on a date of birth window. Then you can indicate whether you want type 1, type 2, hypoglycemic, some other, or some combination of these. Also, males, females, others, or some combinations of those. Then Level will search for you and give you a list of all active or inactive patients that pass that profile. From that list, you select the patients that you want to include in your study. You're then able to, let's indicate that we can get one patient on here at least to look at by including everything. So we have 3 patients. So let's select all 3 patients and proceed with the selected patients. And now what you can do is set a filter on the blood glucose levels that you would like to be included in your study. They can include some range of studies, or you can include some date range for the readings that you want to be included in your study. You can also include days of the week choice, and you can also include some months of the year in case you wanted to study different seasons like winter, spring, or summer. Then all of the readings that are passing the set of profiles are compiled into one large file. And with that file, you can do 3 things. First, you can view it as a simple mobile day graph right now. Or you can view it as a simple pie graph right now. Or you can export that file. It will be exported in an ordinary text, comma, separated value file that can be imported into other statistical programs such as Excel. Additionally, the file that you export can be merged with the similarly exported files of colleagues so that you can form databases for large geographical regions. So this is the feature called Combined Data for Research. These additional functionalities are available to those members of your staff that you designate as administrators.
Hi.